Hi guys, Mindstone here, and today I will be reviewing the last cards from not Wisp Field cards, but ONK or One-Eyed Karazhan. This is going to be all the class cards, so we're starting off with Enchanted Raven from Druid. Um, yeah, so it's a 1 mana 2/2, and it doesn't really do anything, but it's a beast. So initial thoughts about it is more like it's good stats for 1 mana, but is it good enough? Because if you're met with a Void Walker, or let's just say Druid have living roots, or well, lots of classes have 1 drops that will actually answer to this. Yes, it has a lot, really good stat line for 1 mana, but is that what Druid want? I could see it in Beast Druid definitely, because then you have maybe Mage Shara on turn 2, and then you have a 4/4 on turn 2, which is actually really powerful. But I don't really know about it except for that. I don't expect to see this in usual druids just because it's kind of not supporting that slow rampy style that they're playing. And then 2/2 isn't amazing stats to be honest. It's like it's good on turn 1 because it's good at killing stuff with 1 attack, but well with anything having 2 attack, then this is just not amazing. So I don't expect it to see a lot of play. It's gonna see a bit in Beast Druid, but except for that, probably not. So I'm gonna say it's probably just a situational card. It's like nothing amazing. Um, yeah, 4 out of 10. Next card up is Fireless Portal. So as you guys probably will notice, um, I'm not taking like one class, one class, one class. It's like jumping all over the place. So now it's a Mage card, Fireless Portal. So it's 7 mana, deal 5 damage, and summon a random 5 cost minion. This is fairly interesting actually. Because you could consider it as you get random 5 cost. It's like average worth of stats are like a Yeti, so it's like 4 cost. Um, but you do get a 4 cost then, and you get 5 damage for 3 mana, which is fairly good. It's like that's not all bad, and that's all in 1 card. So you're not having like a bad card value for it either. Um, I'm pretty fond of this card actually, and I think it has a lot of potential. It's probably going to see play in tempo mage, I believe. In a slow tempo mage, you could play just one of these, and you would actually have a pretty good card. Um, but the funny thing is that this might define a new style of slower mage, where you're actually playing these heavy minions and lots of board clear, and really um, these nice heavy flame strike cards that mage have. It's not a good example, I know, but these heavy high value things that might just be really cool. Um, yeah. So I look very much forward to this card, and I'm ready to say it's above average because it's fairly good actually. Yeah. At least it's a very solid card. Well, looking at the next card, it is Ethereal Peddler. Um, well, this is kind of an odd card because Rooks don't tend to play 5 drops that have nice stat lines, if I remember correctly. They play Azure Drake. This guy's kind of cool if you have a lot of cards from your opponent's class in your hand, but you have to play Burgle and the new Rook card that's also somewhere in here to get these cards. So and there is a few options for getting cards from your opponent's class, but honestly, it's just other classes. Honestly, it's not looking that good to me. I think you could play Grand Crusader and you have Paladin cards then, so that's kind of fun. But I don't know. It's like you have to play a thief deck, and to me that just seems like you don't know what you're gonna get. So it's not gonna be some streamlined deck that will work out well towards some sort of winning condition. So I don't think the card is going to see play actually because it just doesn't fit into any deck that really can utilize it. Because it's a card that says build a deck around me, but the effect is not powerful enough to be built a deck around, and there's not enough cards supporting this archetype, I believe. Not quite. Um, so I don't think it's going to see play. I think it's a below average card. just because it's not really gonna do enough. Next card up is Karazhan. So it's a warlock card, which summons 3 minions, 1/1, a 2/2, and a 3/3, 5 mana. Um, I don't know about this card. It's like if those things summoned don't have any additional effects to them, this card is just 6/6 for 5, spread out into 3 minions, and that's pretty poor. Really, you're not gonna pay 5 mana and not get some sort of good, stat and effect value out of it. You get kind of alright stats. You get a bit more than vanilla value, but still, it's like spread out and easily be board cleared or traded into. You can look at this card as the Druid card, Force of Nature, which is exactly the same, except for that you get 3 2/2s instead of a 1/1 and a 3/3 and a 2/2. So if the cards don't do anything, this is just Force of Nature with a different artwork and name, kind of. And Force of Nature doesn't see any play, so why should this card see play? So to me, it just looks like a weak card, honestly. So like 2 out of 10. It's not going to fit in anywhere. I don't see it played at all. Then we've got Babbling Book. It's 1/1, 1/1, and it reads battle cry, add a random mage spell to your hand. This, like, initially looking at this card, it just looks like, wow, you get spells. That's really amazing. It's super good. And then I look at it again and say, hey, wait, I get a random spell. And I get a 1/1 for 1. Could I just put the spell I wanted inside of my deck instead of something giving me a random spell and a 1/1? I don't really care about the 1/1 whatever deck I'm playing. So it's only to like fish the third fireball or something, which is like not worth it because that's never gonna happen. Like most of the time at least. Yeah, I just don't like it. It looks really cool, but I just think it's not gonna see play because you add the random spell to your hand and you get mirror image, and you're like, oh well, this is pretty bad. Yeah, it's just there's nothing that really justifies playing it over just playing the spell you want. I don't see that at least. So I'm just gonna rate it as weak, 2 out of 10, just because it looks really good, but it's not. Yeah, that's pretty it. Well, next card up is Silverware Golem. So this card is cool. As you guys might see, there's some synergy with the other discard cards that are maybe already out there. So looking at Doomguard, looking at Soulfire, looking at Darkshire Librarian, looking at Malshahzad's Imp, which we're gonna see later. Yeah, I don't have to mention all of them because I'm quite sure there's more. There's the Tiny Knight of Evil and such. But this guy is cool because you can actually have him in your hand when you play, let's say, a Doom God, and he's played as a 3/3 for 0. And that's kind of really broken, right? Like, try to imagine the start where you just turn 1, you go, oh, second, and you sit with this guy, and you sit with Soulfire, and you just fire Soulfire. This Soulfire discards this guy. Then you had a 3/3 on turn 1, and you killed your opponent's minion, and whatever they played. That's really bonkers, but it's never gonna happen because Soulfire doesn't ever discard the card you want it to. But there's a chance, like, come on, join the hype train. It's a cool card, no doubt about that, and I'm pretty sure we're gonna see it in Zulok. Yeah, don't know if I want Deathwing Warlock to be a thing where you just discard your entire hand and there goes like 2 Fists of Jaraxxus and double Silverware Golem. But that's not gonna happen. I don't believe in it, even though it's really cool. So I'm just gonna say that it's probably just above average, so 7 out of 10, and it's probably gonna see plain Sue. Yeah. Next card up is Spirit Claws, which is a shaman weapon. So it's 1 mana, 1/3. That's not bad. It's like Nathar's First Mate without the 1/1. But then you get has +2 attack while you have spell damage. This is insane. Like, try to consider a 3/3 weapon for 1. That's really dumb. If you just get 1 attack off with 3 attack, you have a Fury War Axe for 1 mana. Like, just come on, that's good. And you still have, even worst case, it's just 3 pings for 1 mana. Like, this is an insane card. I'm probably gonna say it's auto include in every single shaman deck. At least 1 copy, just because it's helping you deal with the board early game, or it helps you push damage to the enemy face if you have spell damage, obviously. And you have the totems, so worst case, you're gonna fish for a totem and you'll get that, maybe. And in mid-range shaman and such, you have Asher Drakes, and you're fine. You just have spell damage out of that. So I think the card's really good, and I don't know if I'm gonna say it's auto including everything, but it's really close to. I'm gonna rate it as insane, which is 9 out of 10. Shaman's gonna love this card, and I think they just got another 7/7 for 4-ish card here. Yeah, so absolutely a super solid card, which is definitely going to see play. Next card is Maelstrom Portal, and this is Arcane Explosion, and you get a 1-drop as well. For some reason, Blizzard thought that was alright. So Shaman's just getting all the lovely cards. But this card is good. It really synergizes well with Spirit Claws, actually. Because if you have spell damage, then the 1 damage to all enemy minions just becomes a consecration almost. And you get the 1-drop. So that's really OP. Yeah, it's like, I'm pretty sure we're going to see this card in some defensive shaman, maybe some mid-range shaman. I think mid-range is most likely, actually. Some spell damage mid-range, I don't know. But it looks interesting, and I think we're gonna see this. Because it's fairly good, actually. If nothing else, then you get a 1-drop for 2 mana. And you do get 1 damage to something. Which is like Elven Archer-ish, I don't know. Yeah, whatever. Pretty sure we're gonna see this card. I'm gonna say it's probably 8 out of 10, so great. Next card up is Silvermoon Portal, which is Blessing of Kings, where you take 2. Well, you take some of the stats out and you summon 2 mana minion instead. Honestly, this card to me doesn't look amazing. I'm really a fan of the portal type thing, but I don't think this is amazing. You get the +2/+2, that's pretty fair. But you get a 2-cost minion. Try to look at this as a Huntmaster, where you don't get the 4/3, you get a 2-cost minion. Well, that's kind of poor, right? You don't even get the taunt. Obviously, you don't have to have a beast to do that, but still, it kind of is. Yeah, I don't know about it. It's probably just, at best, it's in some sort of suit deck where you just play this as maybe instead of, let's say, Blessing of Kings, to try to get some more minions on the board. But I just don't believe in it. I don't see how this would replace Blessing of Kings, because you'd like the +4/4, it's really a lot of damage. Yeah, and I don't think you can fit all that much buffing inside of your deck, so probably not going to see all that much play. Definitely not in control, because it's definitely an aggressive card. So I'm just going to say situational, it's like 4 out of 10. It's not garbage, but it's not amazing anyway. So, next card up is Priest of the Feast, which is really a cool card. If nothing else, just because Blizzard thought this was funny. I love the name, definitely, and it's actually quite good against aggro. If you play this guy, he's a 3/6 for 4 mana, and he's going to heal you for a damn ton if you don't deal with him. If your opponent doesn't deal with him. So that's pretty good. So it's going to be like Sular just hates this guy, right? And, well, everything that's wanting to kill priests are going to hate this guy, because it's just the, well, not the ultimate anti-aggro tool, that was Deathlord, but I'm thinking that Priest of the Feast is just, you do this and you do, next turn you do maybe, let's say, I don't know, another one, and you do Powered Shield, and you get 6 HP, and aggro decks just gonna be like, fuck, because you just got 2 times 3/6 and 6 HP, and you drew a card, and buffed one of them up. It's like, it's just so much value. Yeah, so it's just mainly, the thing about the card is that the stat line's absolutely insane. and you actually have a pretty fair effect as well. That's quite useful. And I'm gonna stop talking about it because I'm just being like, yay, I want this. But it's definitely a great card. It's like 8 out of 10. Maybe it's just above average, 7 out of 10. Because it could be like that. It's too proactive for priests because priests tend to be very reactive, and I don't know if this card is good enough to change that. But it might be all right. Um, yeah, we'll see. Next card up is Purify, which reads silent aim friendly minion. Draw a card. And 2 mana. So this card looks kind of odd. It's like you have to play the silence your own stuff deck, which is like not existing anymore after Naxxramas was taken out of standard. So I'm pretty sure this is just not going to see play. I don't think you'd ever want to silence your own minions, and well, the draw card part is kind of alright, but it's not good enough. Yeah, I just don't see it. Um, I'm considering if you could Shadow Madness something and then silence it with Purify, and then you would have the minion be yours permanently. But I don't know about that, and it would be cool, but I don't think it's gonna work. Because I don't think Shadow Madness is a debuff. Yeah, well, it just initially doesn't look all that good, and it's quite combo related if you want it to work. So I just don't think it's gonna see play. It's probably just below average, maybe even weak. So 2 or 3 out of 10. Don't think we're gonna see it. The next card up is Menagerie Warden, and it reads Battlecry, choose a friendly beast, summon a copy of it. This guy's like super insane if you have a beast on the board. Because you can just consider that, let's say you have a raptor on the board. You play this guy and you get, and you copy the raptor and you get a 8/7 for 6 mana. It's pretty solid. Um, and now try to consider that you have a, let's say, Dark Arakoa on the board. I don't know if that's a beast. It could be a beast. Let's just say it might be a beast. So some large beast. I don't know what it is. Okay, Savage Combatant. I know that's a beast. I don't remember about Dark Arakoa right now. But let's say you have Savage Combatant on the board. This guy just summons another Savage Combatant. Then you've just got 4 mana value really cheaply. Savage Combatant. And Savage Combatant is really good. So it boosts the beast synergy in Druid even further, and it might actually do a lot to that deck. So I think we're definitely gonna see this card. It's probably great or insane actually. So 8 or 9 on the scale. Yeah, not much to say about it. It just looks really cool. Next card up is Reduce Valet, which reads Battlecry. If you control secret, deal 3 damage. Seems fairly good actually in Freeze Mage, because you get a 2/3 with 2, which is like, yeah, why not? And then you get to deal 3 damage if you have a secret. If you had Mad Scientist, still this card would be insane. But right now it's just like, yeah, cool. You get to ping something off. It's like instead of Forgotten Torch, you might be able to play this. So I think Freeze Mage will definitely pick this up and play it. It's fairly solid, as long as you play secrets. So definitely going to see play. It's probably well, let's say just great. So 8 out of 10, maybe even more if you play secrets. If you play Ice Block, this card is definitely going to be in your list. But I don't know about all other secrets. It's like maybe it's a bit too unreliable, but we'll see. It's definitely a good card. Next card is Nightbane Templar. So this is more Dragon synergy. So what you're going to compare this to is you're going to compare it to Blackwing Technician, which is a 2/4. This is a 2/3, but this one gains, let's say, +2/+2 if you have it, if you're holding a dragon, and the Blackwing Technician only gains +1/+1. So you're going to have slightly more stats with this one, but they're not going to be as condensed. So I don't know if that's good or bad. My initial thoughts are actually this is probably worse, even though you get more stats. Unless you're playing a really aggressive dragon deck where you want a lot of tokens, then I think it might just be worse. Because that you want those minions to be kind of large, not just be killed by random pings here and there. So initially I'd say this is pretty worse, and the 2-3 stats are pretty poor. But it's like Black Mitigation is a good card, and this is a good card as well. So I'm probably just gonna say it's solid, even though it's not like groundbreaking in any way. Yeah, so just 6 out of 10. Probably gonna be played if you play Dragon Paladin. And so next card up is Protect the King. This is like Unleash the Hounds, the other way around. So it just says you'll have a taunt for each opponent of your opponent's minions, but that will be one turn and they'll all be gone. Because all the opponent's minions are going to kill a taunt each and not die, because the taunts have one attack, so they don't kill anything. And they have one health, so they die to everything. So it's like Unleash the Hounds, where you can't choose the traits. You can just choose that you're not going to get hit in the face. It's like the only way it's better than Unleash the Hounds is they have a lot of large minions, and in that case you probably already lost the game. So, looking at this, it's just probably quite bad. It's not really good. Yeah, it's just not useful. It looks cool, but it's just not really. There's no real situation where it's like really amazing. So I'm just gonna say it's weak. It's 2 out of 10. So we're not gonna see this. Probably not gonna see this at all. So next card up is Fool's Bane, which is really interesting, and I think it might actually be, well, it's either it's really amazing or it's like not good. But it says unlimited attacks each turn and can't attack heroes. So I think that means that it can attack up to 4 times a turn. Because, or well, more if you have more durability. But it doesn't care about how many times you can attack. It just says that you can attack when you want, kind of, but you can't attack heroes. So it's gonna be like Sue is just gonna get slammed all over the place with this card, because it's Fury War Axe with the double charges, but you can't go face, but you can hit a lot of times. So it's like a really large tempo swing when you play it. You play it and you kill 4 things, and you're like, deal with that. And that's pretty cool. If you have the card Violet Illusionist on the board, so you're immune during your turn, then the card goes really insane. Because then you don't take the damage for the 4 traits you did. But you can expect to, now when you play this card, you're taking a lot of damage. Just because you are going to hit minions 4 times, which is actually quite a lot. But it looks cool, but I don't know. It's like kind of like Gorehowl, but probably not all as good in control. More like a mid-range thing where you want to be playing as Suish, yeah. Or you can see it in Reno. I'm pretty sure you can see it in Reno if there's a Reno Warrior. Yeah, it looks fine. It's just average, so 5 out of 10. It's not anything insane, but it could be fairly good actually. So next card up is Ironforged Portal. So this is Control Warrior's best friend. Yeah, it's nothing special. You just get some armor and you get a all-cost minion for 5 mana. So you can look at this as you get maybe 4 armor for 2 mana, right? Because a 4-cost minion is like you're probably gonna say if it's random, then it's like worth 1 less mana. Usually, it could be really good with a 4-cost minion, but like you could get Flame Wraith Faceless, but what are the odds? You're just gonna look at this as, well, more armor for the Control Warrior. You're not gonna play it in anything else, I believe, because there's no other deck caring about all that armor. So yeah, for Control Warrior, pretty solid card. They're gonna like it. For everything else, doesn't matter. Probably just a solid card. So 6 out of 10. Next card up, the card I really have looked forward to seeing in play is Malshahzad's Imp. So it says, whenever you discard a card, draw a card. I'm pretty sure this does not trigger if you play like Doomguard without any cards in your hand, so you don't actually discard anything. I'm pretty sure that it will trigger if you actually discard something like Silverware Golem or Fist of Drax, and that makes it really interesting, because that makes the entire discard synergy kind of alright. And it even means that if you have this in play, you can actually afford to discard a card or two. That's not like having a special effect when discarded. So I think the discard Sue might actually be kind of interesting with this. If nothing else, then you're just going to play an ordinary Sue, and then when you play your Doom God, when you draw both Doom Gods at once, you're like, okay, I have Malshahzad's Imp, I'll just draw a card when I discard the one Doom God. And that's kind of alright. Yeah, I think that's fairly good. You're going to be pretty happy with that. I think it's going to see a lot of play in Sue. Probably 8 out of 10 actually. So it's not well, it is pretty groundbreaking because it kind of enables a new archetype together with the Silverware Golem. But it's like it's not absolutely broken. It's not like 2-3 or something. Then it would be broken, but it's not. It's just kind of good, like kind of really good. But next card up is Wicked Witch Doctor. Whenever you cast a spell, summon a random basic totem. That just means more totems. I don't know if this is gonna work if you have already the 4 totems on the board, but you're not gonna get to that situation most of the time. I think we're just gonna see this in some mid-range totem shaman, and that's probably it. Maybe some totem synergy thing with totemic might, but I don't know about it. It could be cool. I would look forward to seeing it, but if that deck ever becomes something, it's gonna be absolutely horrific to play against. So I really hope it does not become a reality, but yeah, it might, because this card is actually kind of good. I'm gonna say, let's say 7 out of 10, because you need to play a lot of spells while you play this. But shamans have those spells like lightning bolt and rock with a weapon to trigger it, so they're pretty happy. Next card was Deadly Fork. So this card is like bad stats for the cost, but you get a weapon in your hand. Now, a lot depends on how much that weapon will cost. If it's like 3 mana to play it, then this card is garbage. But if it's like 1 mana, then the card is actually fairly good. So I simply can't tell, but it looks alright. You get Death Rattle, that means Nasoth Rook, and Rook kind of like that. Yeah, sadly you don't equip the weapon, but what to do. I guess the card will see a little bit of play in the South Rook, but probably not in anything else. Yeah, it's like probably just average, nothing special. Then there's another Rook card, which is Swashbuckler. So this guy is going to steal cards from your opponent. Like it's like half a burgle, and then you get one on top of that. He actually looks fairly good. Because he just gets like he's 1 mana, draw a card. You're gonna look at him that way, and actually without milling you. So he's just cool. He's gonna be a really good arena card, because he gets cards from the classes to your hand, and that have a lot of chance to be better than the one you draft. So he's probably gonna be played in arena. But in constructed, I don't know. I don't see where there's room for him, and because that stealing deck is probably not going to see play, then I don't think he's going to be all that amazing. But he could be funny, and I don't know. Maybe probably just going to rate him as a, let's say, 5 out of 10, maybe 4 out of 10, because he doesn't really fit into anything. But he's actually a cool enough card. Next card up is Onyx Bishop. So this is Resurrect and a 3/4. So if you look at it as Resurrect is worth 2 mana and a 3/4 is worth 3 mana, then you've got pretty average stats, but in 1 card, so that's kind of good. If you build a deck where this is actually relevant, where whatever you summon is actually a good card, then this guy is really cool. But I don't know. I simply can't tell if you can build that deck, because no one has been able to really do it with Resurrect yet. At least not what I know. So it doesn't look very promising for Onyx Bishop, but maybe now that you have even more cards that support this playstyle. So there's a chance. I don't know about it, even though I think it's a very interesting one. It's a very interesting way of playing Priest, because you can play all these board clears, and then when you get to those large turns, when you play these, you're just gonna get like 4 drops out of it, and that's fairly good actually. So I think it might see play in some interesting control deck, but I can't quite tell. Especially in the soft might actually like this, because when their death rattle minions die, they can resummon them and get even more death rattle minions when they do no soft, which is kind of cool. Some projects say this card is solid, so it's like 6 out of 10. But next card up is Ivory Knight, which is like kind of meh. It's like the stat line is like mist color, so it's like 6 mana 4/4, and I would dare say that mist color has a better effect because it's like +1 to +1 to everything in your deck and hand. That's really cool, and it's kind of game winning on the long run. In the long run, but this guy will just heal you, and you'll get a spell. So the draw spell is kind of good. The heal is like not so good. The heal can be alright, but there's a lot of secrets, and if you get a secret, you're just not happy because you get almost nothing in the healing, and all the secrets are garbage. So you're not happy about that. But if you get lay on hands, it could actually be kind of cool. And yeah, that might just be good. Yeah, or you could pick up Consecration on turn 10, and it's actually then you have a pretty good anti-aggro card there. I don't know. The card looks alright, but nothing spectacular. Probably just 6 out of 10. This is a solid card. I'm not all that amazed by it, but when I'm looking at it, it's actually okay because it kind of draws you a card, which is decent, and it is Discover, so you get some choices. It's not just a random spell. Then it would be bad, but here it's Discover, so that's all right. Yeah. Next card up is Cat Trick. So it's another secret for Hunter, more support for that weird York Hunter thing, which is going to summon a Panther after your opponent casts a spell. So it's pretty interesting, but I don't know if it's going to see play. Maybe it's Bluff Secret, but it's better than Bear Trap, I'd say, because, well, in some decks it's going to be better, because it does give you almost 4 damage guaranteed when you play this. So that's pretty interesting, but I don't know. If you're not playing really face decks, I don't think the Panther is really interesting for you, and you might not even care to have it. Or you might be even more happy about the Bear, because that 1 extra health actually matters quite a lot. So I don't think the card is going to see play, even though it's an amazing artwork and an amazing name. I really like it. Yeah, but probably just weak, so like weak or below average, so 2 or 3 out of 10. But next card up is Cloaked Huntress. This card is pretty insane for the York Hunter as well, because you can just play this guy and you can just drop secrets like you want to. And if you consider that Snake Trap, Bear Trap, and Cat Trick are actually going to summon stuff, then you just get a lot of beasts for nothing. Kind of. But I think Control Hunter is going to like this card because it's going to allow them to do some nice tempo swings. And the stat line is fairly good actually, so can't tell if it's going to be played in just mid-range Hunter. Could actually go. It could go happen instead of maybe carrying group, which is not that amazing after all. Sadly, this is not a beast. If it was a beast, then it would have been really good, but it's kind of alright still. I'm probably just gonna say maybe great, so 8 out of 10. I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, you could maybe overextend into a flare if this deck really becomes popular, but you shouldn't expect that, I believe, because flare is just really situational card, and you're not seeing a lot of that. Then we've got Kindly Grandmother. So this guy kind of reminds me of some old friend that was released in Naxxramas called Haunted Creeper. I don't understand why they ever printed this card, because it's like, this is going to be in every mid-range hunter. Every single mid-range hunter is going to have this card, and face hunter for that matters. And maybe even control hunters, and the soft hunters, and I don't know what. Because it's just absolutely insane. It's like, you get a beast, And when it's killed, you probably get a beast as well. It's just, I don't understand it. It's super insane. Um, if you play Purify with this guy, it's just gonna be bonkers. Because the 1/1 is gonna trade in something large and then you get a 3/2. Yeah, it's just an absolutely insane card. Auto include, so 10 out of 10 in most hunter decks. Yeah, super good card. Not much to say about it really. Just, it's super good. Oh well, next card up, Moonglade Portal. More of a balanced card after all. So the restore 6 health option is not all that amazing, but you get a 6 cost minion, which is pretty good. Again, expect the stats of a 5 cost minion, but 6 cost minions are kind of cool. So it's okay, but still you should expect it to just be like average 5 drop. An average 5 drop. Yeah. But restore 6 health for 1 mana, that's fairly good. That can be played. I think it might see play in some ramp druid, maybe just a single copy, because it kind of helps you to do something with healing yourself and playing something in the same turn, which is kind of nice for druid. Because then if they're in problems, they can actually kind of heal out of that and still have some tempo going, and that's fairly good actually. So we're probably gonna see this. It's likely to just be solid or above average, because of that the 6 drop is actually pretty good. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure we're gonna see this, just like Violence Portal. Yeah. Oh, and it seems to be the last card. I can't really scroll onwards, it seems. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and you might have an idea or two, or, well, maybe now that you've seen all the cards, you have got a deck that you really want to try, or, yeah, maybe something. At least, I'm looking forward a lot to it, and yeah, I hope you guys do the same. Well, have a nice day, and I will see you guys in my next video.